6 days later. Friday afternoon, November the 18th. In the week following my surprise outing with Suoh, there wasn't much time for fun and games. Unlike the busy week before it, during which we had 3 targets, one of whom did our job for us. This week, we found ourselves working without rest. Monday through Thursday, we focused on nothing but work, killing our way through 5 individuals scattered throughout the city. We worked to a tight deadline in order to pick up the slack for our co-workers, as Violet and Vincent still hadn't shown up, and the other 2 were sent to look for them. In other words, Suoh, my father, and I spent the week doing the work of 7 people, thoroughly exhausting ourselves in the process. In light of that, with our work finally being completed yesterday, Suoh and I decided to go all out. Not to stalk anyone, not to kill anyone, not to prepare for Adder, or train, or do anything even remotely work-related. No. Today we agreed to waste the entire day doing whatever we damn well please. First on the agenda, as Suoh promised just yesterday, we played video games together in an arcade. For hours, we worked our way through a myriad of games, mostly 2-player, and by the time we left, I'd completely lost track of time, totally absorbed by the enthralling experience. Our next stop was to the park. We brainstormed for ideas for where to go. To Suoh's credits, he pitched plenty of ideas, all of which I readily agreed to. Unfortunately, agreeing to everything is much like agreeing to nothing. Either way, no single choice has been made. This continued for a while until Suoh finally sighed in resignation and opted for the easiest, most cliché date spot of all: the cinema. After eating lunch in a restaurant along the way, Suoh led the way to a cinema he had presumably visited before. The walls were all plastered with posters for movies I had never heard of. Thanks to my recently outgoing lifestyle, and the smell of popcorn filled my nostrils. Even after eating lunch, I found the popcorn difficult to resist, not to mention the chocolate ice cream and other unhealthy, stomachache-inducing foods on display. But we were present to choose a movie first and foremost, not to gorge ourselves and throw up, so I steeled my resolve and focused on the movie listing. So many movies to choose from. There's just so little information available. IMDb girl, have you heard of it? Movie posters and advertisements are always misleading. What I really need is to look up some reviews online. Then again, the reviews are often filled with spoilers, and there's no way of knowing if my tastes are similar to those of the reviewer. Damn, I'm overthinking again. She seems to always do that, so I'm kinda like that too. I tend to think a lot. That doesn't necessarily mean overthinking, but in most/some occasions it does. I should choose whatever sounds good, and we forced the decision onto Suoh. What's a good movie to see while on a date, I wonder? No longer in denial about the nature of our outings, I skimmed through the romantic films being shown. Even if we weren't in that kind of a relationship, I'd already accepted that Suoh and I were more or less dating, and I didn't feel exactly repulsed by such a possibility. Wow! She'd accepted that they were more or less dating? I mean, you kind of had that. I do remember that in the Misa route, that, because this is called the Misa Extra, right? So whenever I refer to the Misa route, it's the one with Suoh and Misa from Suoh's perspective. You always kind of had this, even though we didn't know what was on Misa's mind, whenever the subject of a possible relationship or liking each other or whenever, and during some occasions, I do remember Karasu teasing Suoh and Misa about it, Misa would always blush, and you would kind of get the feeling that she would be actually not against the idea of them dating. I definitely do remember that very, very vividly. So it's nice to see the show like, yeah, we're more or less dating. She already feels that way. And I think during the Misa round, I actually accidentally, totally not, definitely, maybe not, picked the 18 plus movie, I believe. Going solely by the title and the genre, there are a few movies which sound interesting, but if I have to choose just one, then, Schoolyard Adoration, huh? That sounds pretty cheesy. Oh well, if that's what you want to see, I'll play along. Though obviously not thrilled by my choice, Suoh put up no resistance. He began to queue up in order to buy our tickets, gesturing for me to come with him. And indeed, I stayed right by his side, happily smiling to myself right up until the moment the movie began. When you go on a date or first date with a girl to the movies, you kinda gotta let her pick the choice of movie. And if she picks a cheesy chick flick, then you're like, well, damn, I guess I gotta go watch that. But if she picks like an awesome action movie or whatever movie that you yourself are into, you gotta consider yourself damn lucky because you just hit the freaking jackpot. Because I'm pretty sure with most girls, they would just go like they actually want to see the chick flick. So if the girl actually suggests not to watch the chick flick and watch something, you know, more I guess a type of movie that guys tend to enjoy more, then you should consider yourself lucky. Four hours after walking into the cinema, Suoh and I headed back to Karasu's headquarters. We had sat through 90 minutes or so of soppy, romantic fluff, then headed back onto the street to find other ways to busy ourselves before calling it a day. Finally, after failing to find my father in the meeting room, we made our way to Karasu's office, wherein we immediately received a warm welcome. Ah, there you two are, right on time. It wouldn't kill you to get back earlier, you know. Of sorts. Don't be like that. We're just out having fun. Isn't that right, Misa? Absolutely. It was a bit crowded for my taste, but the arcade was more fun than I dared to imagine. It had been so long since I last played a two-player game. I'd completely forgotten how competitive I could be. And Schoolyard Adoration was exactly what I was hoping for. A beautiful, romantic film about high school sweethearts, living the lives I could only dream of. I'm pretty sure that's why she picked that particular movie as well. She's like, I'm a teenage girl, I want to go to school, I want to experience love like a normal teenage girl, let's experience it through this movie. Pair that with a tasty lunch and welcome company, and I couldn't have asked for a better end to a busy week. I suppose there's no problem then, as long as you're both safe and back before dark. Suoh and Karasu both stared at Sai, dumbfounded by his accidental honesty. Even I had a hard time believing that I heard him correctly. While my father's soft side was nothing new to me, the sentiment behind his words was totally unexpected. My oh my, did Papa Sai accidentally say what he really felt? What did I say something wrong? Father hasn't even realized what he said. Not at all. It's wonderful to see you show such affection for your daughter's boyfriend. What? Never one to miss an opportunity, Karasu caught all three of us off guard at once. I looked towards Suoh, who seemed both surprised and embarrassed by Karasu's statement, yet didn't object to his words or correct him. My father, on the other hand, looked devastated, as though he had been denying the reality he himself helped to create. And as for me, she's smiling and blushing. Just like Suoh, I saw no reason to object. I'm sure Karasu was hoping for a response from me too, but I've already come to peace with what we're doing. While it's still embarrassing to hear it stated so bluntly, I won't say that it isn't true. We're going out together on a daily basis, making plans outside of those my father pushed onto us, learning about and looking after one another. Even if it feels too fast, too sudden to be real, there's no denying it. Suoh and I are dating. Really? Doesn't there have to be at least some sort of, kind of oral agreement? Someone has to ask the other person in a sense. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you didn't know them, and if you're an outsider looking in and just following them for a day, you definitely think like, yeah, they act like a couple. They're always around each other. Like, yeah, okay, they look like a couple for sure. But I feel like becoming a couple is one of those things that it just makes everything a bit more serious. That's why I feel like it kind of has to be asked or said by a person, and that other person has to agree. Maybe that's kind of a childish way to look at it, because before it was always like, oh, do you want to be my boyfriend, do you want to be my girlfriend? But I feel like it's such a huge step in a friendship or relationship, that it almost has to be asked, at least. Obviously not in that childhood kind of way of like, do you want to be my boyfriend? But just like just at least the conversation between the two people, like, oh, where do we stand now? Are we now actually dating or not? There has to be at least some that both people actually know of the fact that they're dating and that they both agree to it. Then I would call it pretty much official. With our post-date debriefing spiraling out of control, then coming to an abrupt end, Suoh and I soon parted ways. He returned home to his sister, still vigilantly pretending to be a law-abiding citizen with a regular job, then met up with Karasu, my father, and I once more. Upon his return, our party had not varied in size or composition. Neither Leon nor Kane had shown up, and the other two were still missing. Our team had been reduced yet again, making Suoh, my father, and I the only killers left. Still no sign of them, huh? Now even Kane and Leon have vanished without a trace. Stating the obvious, Karasu alluded to what we were all thinking. While he was yet to say it in such simple terms, he knew that those four were likely dead, if not turning on us. I've tried tracking their phones, but it seems like they've been either completely destroyed or taken out of range. If they were simply turned off, we could at least ping the embedded receivers in the devices. But as things stand... Yes, I am afraid we must assume the worst. Like Vincent and Violent and those who came before them, Kane and Leon are likely dead. If only it were that simple. With the two who died before Suoh showed up, we knew they were dead. We found their corpses, phones included, and we were able to wrap up the investigation without issue. In this case, however, we must assume that our co-workers are simply missing, not deceased. That's true. Like, you can't say for sure that a person has died unless you see their corpse. In other words, there are potentially 4 ex-agents in the wind, armed with inside information and known to kill their adversaries. And with that in mind, we won't be accepting any more work for a while. Training and meetings aside, you two will be on break until our business at Adder has concluded. After that, we will regroup and reassess the situation. Following a 30-minute wait, plus the subsequent meeting, our party split into 3. At this point, Suoh would typically go straight home, Karasu and Father would return to his office, and I would go back to my hotel room. On this night, however, after hearing of the presumed fates of our co-workers, I was inclined to do no such thing. I know I'm probably worrying about nothing, but I can't help feel like something bad is going to happen. 2 of my co-workers are killed, another 4 disappeared, and we're expected to just go on vacation? Something big is about to happen, and trying to shield me from that fact is the last thing my father should be doing. Right now, we need to band together, not split up, so my father can have a secret meeting about what's really going on. Overcome with concern, both for the boy in front of me and for my own safety, I followed Suoh above ground and ran over to his side. Huh? Misa. Aware that my actions were similar to those of a stalker, I grabbed onto Suoh from behind. Whether the nagging in my mind was women's intuition, needless worry, or just plain old common sense, I couldn't let him leave alone. What's wrong, Misa? Couldn't wait until Sunday's meeting to see me again? Suoh tried to brighten the mood, but I could tell from his voice that he was just as concerned as I was. So you're worried too, huh? It is pretty unnerving, knowing that we could be targeted next. But as long as we're careful, I'm sure nothing bad will happen. And in your case, I doubt anyone will be stupid enough to risk invoking your father's anger. While there is some truth to that statement, my bloodline is hardly what I'd consider a strategic defense. And no matter how skilled I am with a blade, all it takes is one moment of hesitation or carelessness to be killed. So no matter how accustomed I am to solving all of my problems on my own, this time around, I'm afraid I can't. Well, I have to get going now. My sister may be asleep, but if she wakes up when I'm not there, I'll never hear the end of it. So, see ya. Despite feeling the same unease that I did, Suoh turned to walk away. He's leaving? Just like that? Does he not understand that we're safer together? Or is he being arrogant and assuming that he can take on any opponents by himself? No. You know what? Screw that. I'm coming along, whether he wants me there or not. Oh, Misa being forceful. He's like, you're not gonna get rid of me that easily. After following Suoh in secret all the way home, I finally revealed myself as we encroached upon his front door. It was difficult to stay out of sight, especially on the near-empty bus, but true to my years of training, I pulled it off. Uh-oh, isn't this the night of... Oh god, no, please no. Isn't it usually the guy's job to escort the girl home? No, never mind. More importantly, is it really alright to just disappear like that? Won't your father be worried? Besides, my sister's home right now, you know? And if she finds you... While Suoh was giving me my dust a lecture, I opened his front door and let myself inside. Tough luck, Suoh. If you want me out, you're gonna have to catch me first. Despite his protest, Suoh sighed in resignation and followed me inside, closing the door behind him. Just wait here, alright? I'm going to make sure Sara's still asleep. If you hear Sara approaching, hide immediately. Understood? Don't worry. If I manage to evade your sight the entire trip home, hiding from your sister should be a piece of cake. While Suoh headed to his bedroom to check on his sister, I walked into the living room. There was nothing in particular I wanted to do or see in the living room. Truth be told, I'd rather follow Suoh into his bedroom and prod his sister awake than wait for the fallout. Unfortunately, I promised to stay out of sight, and idling in the hallway or walking into Suoh's bedroom would run counter to that plan. How boring. My work for the week is finished. Why am I skulking around someone else's home in the middle of the night? As I heard footsteps approaching, I moved out into the hallway, just in time to see Suoh enter the living room. I had moved in case his sister was the one coming my way, so after identifying the owner of the footsteps and verifying his solitude, I had no reason to remain hidden. However, after Suoh's talk of remaining out of sight, I was feeling somewhat mischievous. You want me to hide? Then I shall hide. Find me if you can, Suoh. With Suoh in the living room and his sister no doubt in their bedroom, I opted to hide in the bathroom. It was an obvious hiding place, given the layout of the house, but I was quite confident that I could still remain hidden. I've been here enough times to know where the best hiding places are. Has she really been here that often? Yeah, I guess she was a couple of times before this particular event. Even if the person searching for me is the house's occupant, I'm confident in my ability to... Oh god, yep. I don't know why I knew it was this moment, or at least I thought very much so that it was probably this moment. Yet I avoided from saying it to thinking that if I said it, it would be a spoiler, but considering we're this far along and it's happened in, I think, 2 other routes now as far as I know. So, people should know this as well, so I shouldn't be afraid of spoiling it, but damn. Yep, this is when Sara's dead. Stopping dead halfway through that thought, my jovial outlook was shattered the instant I entered Suoh's bathroom. Contrary to my assumption that his little sister was in their bedroom, what awaited me inside of the bathroom was the corpse of a young girl. Sara, Suoh's twin sister, murdered in her own home. "5 days later. Wednesday morning, November the 23rd. She just, after this point, I'm pretty sure Misa was just like, alright, I'm gonna keep him company, I'm gonna move in. Unsurprisingly, in the days following the demise of his twin sister, I noticed a change in Suoh. Try as he might to hide it, I often caught Suoh staring blankly into the distance, or tightly gripping something that belonged to his sister. He tried to put up a brave front, and he wouldn't say anything about how he felt, but in the eyes of a solitary observer, his pain couldn't be more obvious. On the night of Sara's death, and the morning of the next day, I stayed right by Suoh's side in the hospital as his sister drew her last breath. Although the exact moment of her death escaped me, we had stayed in the hospital overnight, not sleeping a wink as my partner's world came crashing down. I heard from my father how Suoh had recently been orphaned and began working for Karasu to keep a roof over his sister's head. It's no exaggeration to say that he jumped head first into our despicable line of work for her sake, and that without Sara in the equation, we might have never met. Now, the path he walked down for Sara's sake had resulted in her death, and there was nothing we could do to change that, or to ever make this right. Knowing from experience what it was like to lose a family member, I forced myself into Suoh's home and refused to leave. That's something that I think we didn't know before, that Misa's mother had passed away, and that's actually, see, this is a different look on things as to why she forced herself into his home. Because, to some people, and I kind of thought of it at first as well, that it was just like Misa was like, oh yes, his sister is out of the picture, now it's my time to move in with Suoh, But obviously she didn't mean it like that. It's just Misa knew what it was like to lose a family member, and she probably then also realizes probably the comfort that a person like that needs whenever they're going through something similar. So that's what she wanted to give to Suoh, right? The comfort and the just being there for him during this difficult time. And the best way to do that is to to be as close to him as possible. So why not leave or live in with him, I guess. Albeit presumptuous of me to think I could ease Suoh's pain, let alone take Sara's place. There was no way I could abandon him. Suoh was in no state to be left alone, lest he sink into the same depression he helped to pull me out of, and I could think of no better way to repay him than by ensuring his well-being. Good morning, Misa. Busy making another glorious meal to start the day? Chiming in with his usual cheerful tone, Suoh entered the kitchen as I began making breakfast. Even with his life undergoing a sudden, drastic, irrevocable change, Suoh still managed to put on a sincere smile, if only for my sake. If that smile is just for show, it won't be for long. While I may not be anything special in the kitchen, I do cook for myself now and then, and if nothing else, I do know how to make everyday foods extra tasty. As Suoh returned to the living room, I cracked another 2 eggs into the frying pan, then grabbed the salt and pepper from the kitchen cabinet. In my time over at Suoh's house, including previous visits and my recent nights spent here, I've rummaged through every corner of his kitchen. I know where all of the utensils are, where to find condiments, and even where how many pans he has available. Next to his deceased sister, I am without a doubt the most knowledgeable person in the world when it comes to Suoh's kitchen, and that includes Suoh himself. With 4 eggs and several rashers of bacon being fried, the aroma emanating from the kitchen was enough to make my mouth water. Seeing that breakfast was near completion, I grabbed some bread and ketchup, then pulled out 2 plates. I smiled triumphantly as I looked at my handiwork, wiping my mouth as I prepared to divide our portions. Misa, a message from Sai. Time to go. No sooner had I patted myself on the back than Suoh returned. Carrying both his own work gear and mine, he tried to pull me away from the kitchen, just as the smell of home-cooked food began to fill the room. Father wants us to leave now? I haven't even showered yet. What's so important that he needs to talk to us in person so early in the morning? Come on, you can finish cooking later. Just make some toast and get changed. Abandon the meal I just cooked? Get real! Another 30 seconds and I'll be done. It's not the healthiest breakfast, I'll admit, but it's far more tasty and filling than toast. Well, it's not like he said we needed to go right this instant. We'll leave right after breakfast, okay? Now you're talking. For someone who's afraid of my father, Suoh sure knows the right moment to engage in civil disobedience. Father can wait, breakfast can't. I don't know, father might kill us. Breakfast might too, but it's less likely to. A couple of hours passed since my father called for Suoh and I. In that time, we showered, changed, ate breakfast, and then finally traveled to Karasu's lair and sought out my father. It was a rather pointless trip, to be honest. There was nothing he could have told us over the phone. As I quickly surmised, however, the reason why my father requested our presence wasn't to relay information. Instead, he simply wanted to see the 2 of us once more. Even if father will never admit it, he is growing accustomed to Suoh. In fact, knowing my guilt-ridden father, he probably even feels partially responsible for what happened to Sara. Of course, that didn't stop him from subjecting Suoh and I to ample scrutiny regarding our current living situation. After a round of teasing at Karasu's whim, we eventually got down to business. My father explained how our 4 missing co-workers had all suddenly shown up on Karasu's radar once more, split into 2 groups, and located on either side of the city. Suoh and I worked to track down Violet and Vincent, while my father handled the other 2. Jeez, I never thought we'd be hunting down our own co-workers. I mean, I guess it's better than killing innocent strangers, but it still doesn't feel right. Although we were seated away from any other passengers, Suoh kept his voice low as he spoke. Of course, when you're talking about killing and stuff, you better want to keep your voice low. Sitting right next to him, I could clearly hear his concern, even if I didn't agree with them. You shouldn't feel bad about killing those 2 whores. Wow, Misa, wow. While I don't have anything in particular against Vincent, aside from his sleazy lifestyle, I'm actually rather excited by the notion of finally ridding the world of Violet once and for all. I guess it's possible that they'll have a good explanation. We've been pretty far away from base ourselves. But that might just be optimistic of me. Realistically, there's only one way I can see this ending. Sympathetic though I may be towards Suoh's desires not to kill needlessly, this time around, our views did not match up. If he wouldn't finish those two off, I would gladly do so in his place, whether they played innocent or not. This is actually the first time where I feel like she has a personal interest in killing rather than just doing it for business and work, you know? So, but that's because she kind of dislikes those two. So, yeah, but she does have that kind of a side to her, I feel. Like, sometimes, it was really unexpected the first time she just called Violet a whore. Although, I guess she wouldn't be too far off by calling her that. It's still kind of an unexpected thing to hear from her, considering the way that we sort of got to know Misa. It was always, she comes across as sort of a, besides being a freaking killing machine, obviously, she came across as a cute, innocent girl, you know? And to sort of hear her utter the words whore to someone just makes you a bit surprised. Like, whoa, did she really say that? At least Suoh is focused on work now. For the time being, it might actually be good for him to think about hunting down those traitors rather than obsessing over his sister. And if one of those cretins is actually responsible for her death, then I might just let Suoh do the honors after all.